Hello, and top of the morning. This is Pixie doing another vid. There's a few things. Right, there was stuff I saw about seagulls and beaches, and they were saying about culling seagulls because they're becoming aggressive to tourists. And they were saying about, I don't know, all sorts of things. The thing is, what the problem is that they overclear the beaches. They don't have to do it every day, but because these towns have suffered big hits around tourism, the economy and all sorts of things like that, the councils are overdoing it. So when they're over-cleansing the beaches, they're removing all the food sources for the seagulls, and then the seagulls are just hanging out, they've had chicks, and then they see a lot of humans stuffing their faces with bags of chips and stuff, dropping on the floor. They're naturally going to start saying, that's my food source, and how do I get it off them? Because I want some for my babies, and that's what's happening. So I would suggest that really, if they're going to clear up the beaches, do it on a Friday or for the weekend. Then constantly keep clearing it up, and then the seagulls will be searching for seaweed. They'll be looking for things, scavenge on the beaches. They won't be scavenging on the piers so much. I mean, they're opportunists and they're intelligent, so you've got to give them credit. I don't think you need to kill them because you decide to change their natural habitat for your own selfish gains. That's how the council worked. That's what I throw it back at. Yeah, so that's my concern, is that they're not really processing it right, not dealing with the situation, who's giving the advice. Even the things on the news seem like a load of tosh. So other things I saw, yet again, I see loose women. They want to talk about Shadeism, how different skin tones is an ism and it's a nastiness and it's a hatred or something. It's just a load of rubbish, really. I really get fed up with it. I just don't believe in racism and stuff like that. It's just a political tool, you know. So when you want to get what you want, you just throw it up in the air. But to my understanding, it's like it's more of what goes on with wars. You go around killing people, taking their land from them, because you're acting out of pure hatred. So yeah, but no, there's no divisions. I mean, nothing gets raised, say, like different types of Jews. I mean, are Jews against each other? Is there different levels of anti-Semitic behaviour and stuff like that? So these things never get questioned internally by Jews. And watching Loose Women made a critical mistake. They said racism within the black community by the black community, and it's like, okay, so isn't racism just racism full stop? There's some reason like you wouldn't think it would happen, sort of thing. It's a bit like saying paedophiles that were women but not men in the female community with females. They're missing the point of the fact is that it's across the board, and that's it really. So on that subject, cars. Sometimes they don't know what they're doing. And so other stuff, developments. I've been taking some, like I say, well, if anyone's watching videos, I know I take colloidal silver, and I was wondering why I was feeling these tingling sensations in my arm. I thought, have I got some health condition? But no, actually, I'm picking up the Wi-Fi. God knows what Wi-Fi and microwave food does to you anyway. It's probably got heavy metals, and it's being stimulated by the Wi-Fi. So I've noticed the Wi-Fi affects it, and I can sense it more. So you are getting hit by Wi-Fi. It does enter your body. It does have an interaction with your nervous system at some level. But also, I've noticed that I could sense auras more. So I was going near people like that. Well, I wasn't going like that up to people. That'd freak them out, wouldn't it? But I was just being close to them with my arm, and I could sense their field around them. And they're not really people that necessarily would be spiritual. They just got an aura. And you can just feel it's like a warmth, just like a bit like a radiator or something. You just feel a slight warmth energy field around them. So I think that was quite interesting. I think of any other developments. So more plants, just keep growing them. A mushroom experiment, I checked on it and no change there. I may have to get some spores and inject them into my jar, but it's got colloidal silver, and so you know the end result of it could be that you can't use colloidal silver in conjunction with mushrooms because it just kills everything. I mean, it doesn't kill all the bacteria. Other plants love it. They really perk up after they've had a shot of colloidal silver, and I think that's quite impressive. There's also stuff about stem cells and colloidal silver as well, because it when you make it into its what they say would call it a monatomic level, so you just basically use electrolysis, and what comes off is a white. This is the manna. So you have like your white. It's almost, you could say, it's like almost in that sense, and its white oxidized, highly oxidized form. It will bond to DNA bonds and stuff, and then as it loses its charge, it basically almost like welds itself in position. So as that takes that electrical charge to the DNA, it stimulates it, and so it's able to carry out extra functions it might not normally able to do, because it's going to capitalise on any kind of advantage. So if there's energy coming into it, it's going to use that. So sometimes when I use it, I tend to feel it goes up into there's a part of the brain stem, really, top of the brain stem. Now it's either because if there was in the past there might be some kind of damage that maybe a whiplash or something, and it's kind of bonding and repairing it at some level. Or it's helping the circulation because there is anti-inflammatory stuff around there. And then I feel a bit of energy boost from it. And that part of your brain, right in the deep core of that part of that brain, you'll supposedly produce certain stem cells. So that's interesting. If that's true. It definitely made me feel a bit younger myself. It can make you go a bit euphoric, a bit high if you have loads of it, and it gives you a strange tongue. Your tongue looks a bit patchy. It depends how you react to silver generally, but it looks like I've had a lot of antibiotics. So give me like a dog tongue, a special ability. I can lick anything, and the blood as well. I've had I think before when my gum was bleeding, I tasted the blood, and the blood had an iron. I could also taste the silver in it. It was quite interesting. So it was like being out of something from the X-Files. I might try taking more copper. See, when I made copper, I made that in a sort of mono form, and they look all the same, to be honest. What happens if you get it right, you get this milky stuff, milk of the gods, and or milk of the quantum. It's kind of in a different state. It's changed over. So yeah, I mean, with something like that, they tend to be all the same. So it's probably got a lot of more different benefits there. You just have to try it out. Or maybe it hasn't. It's just all the same, really. But copper's definitely useful for your body. Got your vascular system. You want to take good care of that. And if I notice some other things like it's like plant telepathy, I guess. I don't know what you call that. I'd like touching plants, and before I go to sleep, I start seeing all these different types of plants that are similar, similar species. It seems kind of interesting, and then I've noticed a closer bond with them. It's quite interesting as well. I had a plant that popped up quite easy. It's from a canna seed. I thought, wow, it's come up. And I've been watering what I call my pit, and there's different seeds popping up there. So I'm thinking about the plants, and they're just turning up almost. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. I tried an experiment where I put, I had some of these kratom seeds, and they're hard to germinate anyway. And so I put the plant pot. I put it on. Yeah, you're okay. Go for it. Got a van up my arse. So yeah, so it's difficult with the kratom, and I put it in this pot, and I put the pot inside a slow cooker, and I put water in the bottom of the slow cooker, and the soil was wet as well, and I put it on warm, because I thought, well, warm can't be too hot. But I come back and I thought, bloody hell, it's too hot. I sort of, after having a bath an hour later, I touched it and I thought, wow, this is a bit, I'd be uncomfortable with this type of temperature. Maybe they'd be alright, I don't know, because they're laid on top. However, I might have just sterilised a load of seeds. So I went back to my old method, which is I just stuck some cling film over the top of it. But I've kept it more inside the house. It doesn't need to be near a load of daylight, because her daylight dries them up. So because it would grow in somewhere where it might be a bit more tropical, and it's more about humidity. So I've put my cling film on it and left it there. I put some fresh seeds on as well, just in case it's I've killed it, so I can chuck some of them on there and see what happens, and leave it to it basically. And what else I've ordered? I've ordered some more hemp seeds. It was they're like health ones. You want to chew on them. I didn't see anything about the husks being removed, so I might end up see if I can grow them. That'd be quite interesting. Yeah, again, massive saver, like 100 grams of seeds for $5.99. They've probably steamed them or boiled them or done something to have killed them. I just eat them anyway. It doesn't really bother me. And then to take it from there. But I said we can grow some. I grow some first, and if there's no luck, I'll inspect them before I make any decisions about what we do with them. If they've still got a bit of a shell on them, then and they look healthy, then that's fine. We just start my experiment and grow a load and just eat a load of leaves and stuff. And stem, maybe I just juice the whole lot up and get all the benefits. So yeah, anyway, this is Pixie signing off. Have a great one, whenever you're